Why do Filipinos go abroad to look for a job? And kung ikaw ay isa ng OF or overseas Filipino, gaano ka ba dapat katagal nagtatrabaho dyan so that you can eventually come back home to the Philippines and maybe enjoy the fruits of your labor? Stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about that next. Welcome back, everyone. So, bago ko sagutin yung questions ko kanina, okay, just a background, ano? So, ako ay merong experience into being an OF or overseas Filipino worker or dating OFW myself, no? So, I worked in the 𝗟𝗟𝗜𝗖𝗏 or the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, also known as Marianas, or more popularly known as Saipan. So, nagtrabaho ako doon around 2001 to towards the beginning of 2003, and then after which I moved to yung katabing island naman, which is Guam. So I also worked there for a little over a year and a half. Okay? Tapos yung sa family ko naman, my dad is a true blue OFW. So ako ay isang anak pawis. So dalawa kaming OF or my experience ng pagiging overseas Filipino worker dito sa aming household. So balikan natin yung question ko na bakit ba ang Pilipino ay pumupunta sa ibang bansa so that he can find a job? Okay? I can think of a lot of reasons why, no? But at the top of that list is very basic, better opportunity. Okay? And by better opportunity, I want to highlight yung pinaka-context or yung konsepto ng mas malaki ang sasahurin ng overseas Filipino in other countries versus kung dito sila sa Pilipinas mag-work. Okay? Although, that being said, okay, I'm not saying na lahat ng trabaho dito sa Pilipinas, lahat ng kumpanya dito sa Pilipinas will not give you a good salary. Okay? So, that's not a very fair thing. Or not a very factual thing to say. Okay, so, kasi ako personally, I was able to find several companies here that compensated me quite well. Na parang feeling ko na in hindsight, hindi na rin kailangan mag-abroad. No? So, parang okay na rin yung ganong pay grade or salary that I was getting. But, that being said, again, not everyone is given the same opportunity or I don't want to call it suerte, pero let's just focus on opportunity. Not everyone is given the chance na makakuha ng ganong kumpanya based on their credentials, their experience, and their skill set. So let's talk about that concept of better or bigger pay. Okay, I can think of several jobs that make more money abroad, no? Pero for as long as I can remember, dati pa, ang isa sa mga matataas na sweldo na kinikita ng mga Pilipino abroad is doing the job of nurse. Okay? So ano ba ang i-compare natin, magkano ba yung kinikita ng nurse dito sa Pilipinas? Okay? So based on a website that I did my research on, ang sinasabi, on the average na lang to, wag na yung lower limit tsaka upper limit. So on the average, a Filipino nurse, registered nurse for that matter, will make around 30,000-35,000 a month. Okay? So, malaki ba yun? That's okay. I mean, that's something that can actually sustain you sa pang-araw-araw na buhay mo. Okay? Especially if you're single. Okay? O ngayon, let's go to what's one country na maraming nurses. So, let's go to United Arab Emirates. In United Arab Emirates, a Filipino nurse, or basta a nurse, no, can make approximately 200,000 pesos a month. Oh, that's in UAE. Now, let's go to another United States. So, sa US, medyo ganun din. Mas mataas siya ng slight. Siguro mga around 280,000 pesos. Okay. So, mas mataas siya ng sobra. Okay? So, the third United na bansa that I can think of is United Kingdom. Oh. So, marami akong friends na mga nurses in UAE and US, and also most especially in London, in UK. Sa UK, ang kinikita ng isang nurse ay pumapalo ng mga roughly 320,000 pesos a month. So, it's very basic math and logic. Okay? If you are a Filipino nurse, you'll have to work 6 months before ka makakuha ng isang buwan or so ng isa dun sa tatlong bansa na sinabi ko. So, it's a no-brainer. That is why a lot of Filipinos go abroad to go look for a job, because it's just a little bit lower, or maybe much lower in terms of salary yung makukuha dito sa Pilipinas. So another reason ay, aside from higher or better pay, is maybe a more challenging job. Okay? Kasi I mean, what's more challenging than being uprooted from your motherland and then being placed in another country wherein you are at best a second-class citizen. So, siguro kasama nung challenging job na yon is really also you being or wanting to be a little bit more independent, trying to prove something to not just yourself, but maybe to your parents or to other people. And also kasama nun is maybe you chasing after your life's goals, dreams, and aspirations. So, yun yung, in a chunk, one of the other reasons kung bakit ang Pilipino ay nagpupunta sa ibang bansa to find another job. I guess lastly, or maybe I'd like to say na I'm saving the best for last, no? Ang pinakahuli na reason mostly ng mga Pilipino para magpunta sa ibang bansa is because they are most likely a breadwinner, or meaning sila ang nagsusuporta sa kanilang pamilya. Sila ang inaasahan because I don't know, maybe they are the ones who are more qualified, they have a skill set, or maybe sila lang talaga yung may lakas ng loob na umalis. Or siguro at the end of the day, sila yung may responsibilities that are on their shoulders that they have to carry. Okay? So, doon magsisimula yung aking second question sa vlog. So, dahil ikaw nga ay isang breadwinner na ini-expect or inaasahan ng family mo or whoever it is that you are supporting or sponsoring, gaano ka ba dapat nagkatagal magtrabaho dyan sa bansa of your choice para eventually ay makauwi ka na sa Pilipinas to enjoy the fruits of your labor? Well, of course, there are exceptions to the rule kasi merong mga Pilipino who initially, ang kanilang intention to go abroad is really just to look for a job. Okay? Pero eventually, I don't know, it's either they fell in love with the country or they found someone that they fell in love with na doon na nakabase doon sa bansa na yun, and they decide to migrate or to become a citizen. Kasi pwede ka namang maging citizen ng mga bansa. Well, in general, most countries will allow or offer or grant citizenships based on naturalization. Okay, so it can range from as fast as 2 years to as long as 25 to 30 years of continuous stay in that country. So this question, this entire vlog, is really just specifically targeting those OFs who are actually not wanting to become citizens of that country na pinagtatrabahuhan nila, but those who actually want to eventually, consequently, ultimately come home to the Philippines, not necessarily to retire, basta umuwi para ma-enjoy ang fruits of their labor at tumigil ng magtrabaho abroad and maybe end their responsibilities. So kung ikaw ay isa doon sa mga OFs na yon na gusto nang umuwi, kating-kati na, or hindi mo alam kung gaano kakatagal, here are just some things or considerations that you need to think about. The first thing is you should have a timeline. I-establish mo yon. Even before you start going out of the country or leaving for that job, dapat alam mo, gaano katagal ba ako mag-work sa Japan? Yan. Hindi yung, ang mindset mo, hindi, basta mag-Japan ako hanggang kaya ng katawan ko. Okay? So, kailangan meron kang deadlines. Okay? So, it can be a year. Okay? So, pwede mong sabihin, by 2029, tapos na ako mag-work. Uuwi na ako ng Pilipinas for good. Pwede din siyang maglalagay ka ng age mo. Okay? So, sabihin mo, pagka ako, 50 years old, 30 years old ka nung umalis ka. So, you have about 20 years okay, to work abroad. Okay? Pwede rin, kunwari nga, breadwinner ka or ikaw yung nagsusupport sa pamilya mo. Pwede mong sabihin, kapag tapos na ang aking bunso, okay, di ba? Or maybe you're a good brother. Sabihin mo, kapag napagtapos ko na ng college, yung pangatlo kong kapatid. Okay? So, when the time comes, at least alam mo na tapos ka na doon sa responsibilities mo, tsaka doon sa at sabihin natin kontrata mo sa sarili mo that you're going to be working abroad as an OFO. Second, kailangan mag-set up ka ng investment account or accounts. Okay? Meaning, you should have a diversified investment portfolio. Okay? In another vlog, I'm going to be talking about options for investment. Kung meron bang best investment, and if there is, saan mo ba dapat ilagay ang iyong pera, okay, to save up for your future. Okay? So, that's for another vlog. Okay? But for now, yun nga, ang importante, habang kaya mo pa, while you are at the prime of your youth and your health, kailangan nagtatabi ka na ng pera, nag-iipon ka, kasi nga, nandyan sa ibang bansa, mas malaking kinikita mo. Okay? So, medyo, meron kang, in my example earlier dun sa nurse, you have 6 times or 6 months more earning power than if you were back here in the Philippines. So, mag-ipon ka, okay? Hindi yung nandiyan sa ibang bansa, ang dami mo nakikita, bibili ka ng alahas, bibili ka ng bagong Nike, bibili ka ng bagong PS5, okay, etc., etc. Okay? So, always make it a point that you save hopefully a larger chunk of your salary, of your earnings, so that you can put it into an investment. Number 3, this is related to the previous one, which is about setting up an investment account. Ito naman, investing in yourself. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, so syempre, when you're working there, hindi ka naman nagtatrabaho 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Obviously, meron kang days off, rest day, okay, kailangan mo magpahinga. Okay, and I can imagine or I can understand if you use that day off or days off para matulog buong araw, or to go malling, to meet up with your friends or have a date or play a sport, etc. Okay? Pero you might want to consider adding this thing into yung mga gagawin mo kapag rest day ka. Mag-add ka ng bagong skills, no? Learn a new skill. So it could be cooking, baking, it could be carpentry, okay? It could be a new language. Okay, it could be a new programming language in the computer. Okay, so it can be a master's degree, okay, or a PhD for that matter. Okay, maraming avenues, maraming available resources. Some are actually free, some have minimal pay, yung iba naman medyo mahal pero worth it. Okay, so that is also something that you want to invest in yourself. Kasi pag umuwi ka na eventually sa Pilipinas, that is something that you may be able to use when you are already parang restarting, okay, your life back home. And speaking of rest day, let me go to my 4th insight dun sa mga nagbabalak ng umuwi. Okay? Kailangan din magpa-practice ka ng work-life balance. Or actually ngayon, ang bagong jargon na is work-life integration. Okay? What do I mean by that? Yun nga, may rest day ka, dapat huwag ka ding magpakahagard. Okay? So, or not taking rest days at all. Okay? So, you need to be able to sustain a healthy body, a healthy mind. Okay? So, kailangan hindi ka nadidepress, hindi ka masasakitin. Kasi nga, ayun nga, lalo na, especially if you are the breadwinner, ikaw yung inaasahan ng buong pamilya mo, ng buong barangay mo. Okay? Kailangan mong alagaan ang sarili mo. Okay, because that is something that will bring you towards years and years later when tapos na yung kontrata mo dun sa sarili mo. Na sinabi mo kanina na, kunwari, 2029, uuwi ka na ng Pilipinas. So, dapat, by the time na malapit na yung 2029, wala kang mga sakit-sakit sa katawan dahil because of stress, because of fatigue, because of overwork. So, take time to relax, take time to take a break, take time to take care of yourself, especially your health and your overall well-being. Oh, now, I dare say I'm saving the best for last na consideration. Number 5, you need to educate the people you left behind. Or since ikaw yung breadwinner or yung sponsor, tawagin natin silang yung mga beneficiaries mo. Okay? So who are these people? So if you're a husband or a father, ito yung pamilya mo. So yung wife mo, yung iyong tatlong anak. So or it could be your parents, okay, and your siblings. Okay, basta yung mga taong umaasa sa iyo na iniwanan mo dito sa Pilipinas. Okay? What do I mean by you have to educate them? Okay? In the same token na sinabi ko dun sa number 1 na kailangan nag-set ka ng timeline, dapat alam din nila yon. Dapat alam nila na hindi ka isang milking cow or cash cow. Okay? Na every time they need something, every time there's an emergency, every time there is a big ticket item na kailangan bilhin, ikaw ang tatakbuhan nila. Okay? Kailangan alam nila na may deadline. Okay? That's number 1. Dun sa family or dun to the beneficiaries. Tapos, secondly, kailangan they have to be educated also kung paano i-manage yung finances, the money, the help, the support, the aid that you're going to be sending them back here in the Philippines. Hindi yung kada padala mo ng pera dito, bumibili ng bagong gadget, bumibili ng bagong condo, bumibili ng bagong Balenciaga na bag, si Mrs. Okay? I'm not saying those things are wrong. No? I mean, it's part of enjoying the fruits of your labor. Okay? Pero, I'm telling you, ka-connected siya nung number 1 eh. Kasi kapag hindi educated yung iniwanan mong beneficiaries dito sa Pilipinas, na ang mindset nila ay ikaw lamang ang kanilang guardian angel, Superman, or Savior na pwede nilang takbuhan any moment, any time of the day, hindi mo ma-achieve yung timeline mo or yung deadline mo kung hanggang kailan ka dyan sa Japan, sa Dubai, sa UK, sa America, etc. Okay? So you need to help them understand that you're only going to be abroad on a limited time. Okay? And the help is not going to be unlimited and endless. It will come to an end at some point. And that while you are there abroad helping them, kailangan matuto sila to be team players. So, ang napaka-basic na example niyan, ikaw yung nagpapadala ng pera, okay, kay misis mo, okay, or vice versa, kung ikaw yung misis, tapos yung husband ay naiwan sa Pilipinas, kailangan yung naiwan mong esposo or esposa, marunong siyang mag-budget ng pera. Okay? So, there is no shame in auditing each other. Kung saan napupunta yung pera, saan inilalagay. Importante yun eh. Okay? Huwag niyong isipin na there is a lack of trust if you ask your spouse kung saan napunta yung pera, saan inilalagay. Importante yun kasi pinagtatrabahuhan mo yun. And the very reason that you are actually abroad is to make sure that they are well taken care of or provided for. So ngayon, at least kailangan ma-audit mo kung talaga bang napupunta nga ba dun sa intended na purpose, okay? Or objective or goal itong pera na pinaghihirapan mo abroad. Okay? Tapos, yun nga. So yun si esposo or esposa, yung mga anak dapat alam din nila yun. Okay? So, related to my number 2 consideration or insight, turuan mo din sila na magkaroon ng investment. Okay? So, pakuhanin mo ng variable insurance. Kailangan yung asawa at saka yung anak, meron din silang savings account. Okay? Among others. Those are, of course, the most basic things that they should invest in. Okay? So, hindi pwedeng lahat sila ay nakasahod sa iyo. Naghihintay na aambunan mo sila, padadalan mo sila ng balikbayan box kada 2 months. Okay? So, there's nothing wrong with being realistic. There's nothing wrong with telling them at some point na medyo nahihirapan ka na. Okay? Kasi nga, alam nyo, if I may just tell you this quick story, about 5 or 6 years ago, I went to Doha, Qatar, to do a talk on wealth management. Okay? And I was very surprised. Medyo shock level pa nga ako kasi nung nag-i-interview ako, meron dong mga OFWs na who told me that they have been in Doha for 15-20 years and they have never come home. So, kasi nga sabi ko, bakit ho ba? Sabi, kasi hindi na uubos yung mga kailangan kong suportahan. Biglang itong isa gustong mag-medicine, itong isa gustong mag-lawyer, tapos itong pamangkin ko biglang namatay yung ganito, yung isa nag-dialysis. I'm telling you, you need to go back to that number 1 insight, yung deadline mo. Okay? Kailangan alam mo kung hanggang saan ka lang pwedeng magbigay. Okay? And yeah, it's great that you are helping them as a breadwinner, as a sponsor, out of the kindness of your heart. Pero you also have to think of yourself. Okay? Kasi hindi pwedeng ikaw lang lagi ang inaasahan. You need to be able to enable them also to do something. Ay, tulungan mo, bigyan mo ng business. O magpahiram ka ng pera para magkaroon sila ng business, for example. Okay? Or bigyan mo ng support para makapag-aral ng short course, kunwari, sa TESDA or TLRC para magkaroon siya ng skill. Hindi yung ikaw yung bigay ng bigay bilang ikaw ang OF na wala sa piling nila. Okay, so marami pa akong gustong idagdag dyan, kaya lang ang haba na nitong vlog na to. So baka in your time zone dyan, abroad, patulog ka na dapat. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying here is, don't be too hard on yourself. No? Don't think that you are letting people down, especially those that rely on you, kapag nagdesisyon ka na gusto mo nang umuwi. Okay? As long as nakabase ang iyong decision to come home based on your initial timeline, which you have, I would assume, agreed with doon sa mga taong iniwan mo dito sa Pilipinas. Okay? At the end of the day, you've done your part, natulungan mo sila, na ibigay mo yung dapat or yung kailangan, and darating na ang time ngayon na kailangan yung sarili mo naman. It's now time for you to prioritize yourself. And there is nothing wrong with that. So that's the end of this vlog. I hope you learned a thing or two from some of my insights and suggestions, and most of them based on my experience. Now, if you have any topics that you would like me to talk about, or maybe pick my brains on, please leave your comments in the or suggestions in the comments box below. So from here in 𝗟𝗏𝗏𝗏, I wish that all of you are healthy, safe, loved, and fulfilling your duties, responsibilities, not just to the people that you leave behind, but also to yourself. I will see you in my next few vlogs. This is VJ Bentong.
If you like this video, please click like, share it on your social media, and if you haven't yet, click subscribe and that bell.